My name's Keith Feather. I work as a church partner, is what my role is for Lifeway Christian Resources. I'm not with the Lifeway bookstore, although we're the same company, same people, and I do communicate with the Lifeway bookstore. But there's 24 guys like me that live in the state, and we travel directly to church leaders. And my role is to be your advocate back to Lifeway, keep my ear to the ground of what's happening in churches, what are the needs, take feedback on the use of our resources. Some of the tweaks, some of the changes that we make with the Gospel Project come because we feedback and understand your executive pastor is on the advisory council for the Gospel Project, so he helps us in that way. But my role also is to help churches with strategy and their disciple making. I served on staff at the church as a discipleship pastor, and I actually worked in children's ministry for years, and sometimes look back and think, why did I ever stop doing children's ministry? Because that's the most fun. It also is the most labor intensive, is it not? It takes a lot. It takes a lot to teach kids in a room full, especially when it comes to scheduling preschool. That's the most labor intensive part of it. But it's also very rewarding, and so I miss a lot of things that I did in children's ministry. And who knows, even at 55, maybe somebody can return back. So I live in Greensboro, North Carolina. I serve most of North Carolina and then part of Virginia. I go up into Virginia. If you take a Greensboro and do a little 2-hour bubble, I'll go to Lynchburg and Roanoke and even hit one part of Little West Virginia. So that's kind of my role, is to be your advocate back to Lifeway, those who are using it, and also acquisition and keeping folks up to date, just helping them with their strategy and then customizing Lifeway solutions. And so we really appreciate this church using the Gospel Project and launching into that. I also kind of have a second career, and some of you may have already yelled at me. I see First Life Athletics here. I also, for the Triad area, am a high school basketball official. Didn't get enough yelling at when I served in churches, so I decided to go serve as a basketball referee. No, I do it for the love of the sport, love of the game, and to help the kids. And we were always taught that fans in the stadium don't equate knowledge of the rules. So actually, we get a book, we get a rule book, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about basketball through the years, but I learned a lot. So we have this rule book, and then we have this case study book. What if this happens and this happens? It throws in the kitchen sink everything that could possibly happen in basketball. And so, but it says, these are the rules, and these are how they are to be played out and how they are to be enforced. And sometimes when we look at the scripture, we start with the wrong thing. We start with ourselves. And I'm going to self-improve myself, and the Bible's going to be a self-help for me. And that's going to be my rule book for making myself a better person. And there's nobody that will disappoint you more than you trying to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and being a better person than to rely on the redemption and the work of the gospel. And so this is a good video that's on the kids' site. I don't know if you've seen this or not. It kind of gives a little bit of a lie. Couldn't do much better than the executive pastor did this morning.
For generation after generation, we have gathered for one reason: to tell the story. The one that changes everything. That salvation is not found within, but with Jesus. We tell it again and again, generation upon generation. We teach them the Bible isn't just 66 books bound together. It's one big story. When we see the Bible as one narrative, it changes how we read it. We see that Adam's fruit led to Noah's rain and Joseph's pit. We see that Abraham's ram and Jonah's fish and David's giant foretold us of Mary's manger and the one who would reunite man with God. When we see that every story points to the one, it changes how we teach our kids, how we see ourselves, how we see God. We have one mission, one purpose, one job to do. To share the story with them in as many ways and as many times as we can. This is the big story of the Bible. This is the one story that changes everything. This is the Gospel Project for Kids.
I'm just starting out just a little bit of time, the why. I've been so encouraged as I listen to your leaders talk, the language they use, about the why behind what we're doing the Gospel Project for. As I said, it's to promote gospel transformation, not behavior modification. There's a lot of curriculums out there that are behavior modification, and that's where they start. There's nothing wrong with that. I've got 3 kids. They're 26, they're not kids anymore. They're 26, 23, and 21. Still, at this age, I want some behavior modification at times. And there's times in our classroom we want that. Behavior modification is okay, but when it comes to the scripture and teaching the Bible, we want gospel transformation. So that's what we do through the Gospel Project. It is, and since its inception for kids, has been a 3-year chronological study. So you're going to go through the Bible chronologically. That's why Job is way back in the Genesis, we learned. It's because we're doing a chronological study. And when you finish that 3 years, some churches have said, well, we're done, we're moving on to something else. That's okay if you want something different, but you don't have to, because we refresh every 3 years. We refresh the content, refresh the story. Sometimes we'll bring in some different stories over the 3 years. But the idea is to get the kids to understand that this is one gospel story, and all these narratives are not just disjointed stories to teach us to be better human beings, but they're all part of God's redemptive work in history. And so at the end of 3 years, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, we do it again, 4th, 5th, 6th. Because the kids, what they learned when they were in the 1st grade, that story is totally different in the 4th grade. And so that's what the Gospel Project, we want kids to realize that the Bible isn't a bunch of disjointed stories, fables, or a series of parables to teach us how to be good human beings, but it's one story, God's message. We want kids to understand the key themes of Christianity. The adults and students in the Gospel Project highlight 99 key doctrines as it goes through. Teaches the kids, not only do we learn the Bible, learn Scripture, learn what it says to us, learn that one story, but it also teaches kids how to live on mission. How do I live on mission at my age? What does it mean to watch other people live on mission for Christ? Also, we hope that our curriculum teaches you how to teach and makes it easier for you. And the other thing that it does, it's the one curriculum. We have 3 curriculum lines at Lifeway. It's the one curriculum that aligns the whole family. So I don't know if the church's other classes are doing it, but if the church wanted to as a whole, mom and dad, teenager, preschooler, elementary kid would be studying the same thing if everybody was on the Gospel Project. Interesting, the first time we released the first cycle, we're on the 3rd cycle, 7th year. This is the brand new curriculum really, of the Gospel Project. And the first cycle, the adults were not aligned with the kids. Theirs was more like a systematic theology, worldview, apologetics. They did some different things. But after we finished 3 years, we asked, what do you think you'd like to happen? And overwhelmingly was, we would like to do the chronological, because the parents were viewing some of the stuff that I'm going to show you in the kids area and going, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's when that happened. And so they were learning a lot from the chronological, so then we decided to align. So that's a little bit of the why behind the Gospel Project. I've looked around and I noticed some of the what, and that's what I'm going to share. This is kind of a show and tell. What is available to you as a teacher as you present this? And what are some resources available to you and how you might use them? And how can I engage the parents and get the parents involved? So So this is kind of the first time I've used the Keynote, so you're gonna have to wear, that's why I have my backup laptop. I grew up at that age. Now I'm transferring over to some different material. So you know in your leader's guide, first of all, we say we want to prepare the leader too. There's just a short Bible study for you. And on the next page of your leader's guide, I don't have every piece in here, is the Bible study that you might tell. And then some of the key components I think that we have is there's a Christ connection. Every week we try to have a Christ connection. How does this connect to the fact that the grand story, the meta-narrative of Jesus Christ? The other thing that we have a mission moment. How do we live on mission, and how do we see people across the world living on mission for Christ? So there's a mission moment video. We also have, we used to call it discussion starter, and then we transferred over to questions for kids, which bridges the Bible story and life application. So I think that's what y'all do before you go into your smaller groups. Now, is everybody here really, what I do, I'm going to share it all, but what I do is after the big session, or do some of you lead the big session also, where you're all together? Don't y'all start off all together in a large group?
Well, we start off in our classrooms and then we
then you go.
Then we go to big group and then come back. And
Come back. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sharing with you the things that are available. Now I know you get it digitally, and what I have is hard copy, but you have some of the same things available that you can get digitally, or what you get digitally doesn't include everything, so that maybe some things easier for the classroom, I might want it in print. And it's much easier, much better. It just depends on your print capability, your machine sizes, and what you want in your classroom. So what you get automatically through your digital delivery is you all get the leader guide, of course. That's probably the key part that you guys utilize in the classroom. You get it digitally. Also included in that, or in this, is three. There's three actually CDs and DVDs in here. One is a CD, which you also have available to you digitally. All the printables, extra printables and downloads and things for you to use in the classroom, games, and etc. There's also a DVD, which the DVD or the presentation DVD, there's two, is used in the large group. So you can either use it in a DVD machine. That's a DVD machine. Is that like a VHS machine? old long language there. You can either use it in a DVD, or there's a presentation piece if you're using ProPresenter or some type of presentation software. So that helps you do the large group time together. Also, you should get, I bet there's a younger kids and an older kids, activity pages. And the activity pages, sometimes you may use it when they first come in. I think I'll use that maybe the first hour, so that's available to you. The younger kids actually have a coloring page, but that's also available to you if you wanted to do it for the older kids. So there's an activity page and a coloring page. And of course the activity page does is something that the parents can use at home to have family discussion. So you have that. The older kids is a little different. They don't have the coloring page on there. They have a two-sided activity page. And again, something for the parents to use. And the journal side. The journal is also printable that you can print on your CD. So that's the stuff I think you automatically get. I don't know that you guys know about this also. There's baseball cards that you can get. It is digitally delivered, but it's not real easy to print as well. So sometimes folks will say, we want to just buy the baseball card, so you can do that separately. It's got a little ring. Kids love to get these, and they'll add to the pile. Anybody ever do, anybody in your homeschool, by chance? You familiar with classical conversation? You do that? Yeah? You know the Memory Master? It's part of, yeah.
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 That was before my time. I started when it first started.
Yeah, okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm not a memory master.
Okay. Yeah. Well, my kids happen to have done that.
I've been in a room
Yeah.
where all the moms sang the entire timeline
Yeah.
song. That was really impressive.
Yeah, so the kids that did Memory Master, they would
Right.
start with creation, And they would all go all the way through several hundred events, you know, in not only biblical history, but world history. And they would just memorize and say those things by memory. And then be able to, you know, they didn't know everything about it, but as you grow older, you kind of fill in the blanks. And that's what some of this stuff kind of helps you do. They may memorize things and then complete the story as they grow up. So that's kind of in the leader kit. That's the basic thing that you get. You unpack that kit, and you have all those resources available to you. Another great in-class tool is called Bible book posters. Okay, and this is just books of the Bible where it gives the main theme. So there's Nahum, and it gives just some basic things of that book of the Bible that you could utilize as a tool. Again, you can get it in hard copy version, or you can print and download. And so this is every book, a poster for every book of the Bible. So that's another tool that's available to you. Also, in the classroom, if you need it, we produce printed, and sometimes this is more for those who don't use the presentation piece. But in the classroom, sometimes churches don't do the large group. They go straight to the classroom. And sometimes in the classroom they don't have this, where the teacher can present. Hey, because probably you're doing that, you're saying, here's the big picture question, here's the picture lesson for the story, here's the Bible passage. Now this happens to be a preschool pack. I didn't have my childhood. So, you know, here's the Bible verse, here's the big picture question. And so if you wanted to use that in the classroom, that's what the poster packs are for, to be able to use in the classroom the pieces that you want to use there. So that's available to you. I know this is a big show and tell, so hang with me. Another piece we have, I don't know if you guys are utilizing this, but a lot of times churches will utilize these in the hallway or in the large group time. So if I could just have 4 people, that would be great. You're going to be my Vanna White. Now you could put these on foam board. Grab that one just right. There we go.
Need some long arms for your
That's probably enough. Yeah. That's good. I'm just going to use these two.
That's what I'm saying. Don't have fun. We got it.
So usually we read left to right, but we're going to read right to left this time. Actually, I'll switch places because I want to kind of show you how this goes together. Now, these are called the big picture timeline. Yes, thank you, the timeline of the Bible. So you can see this arrow will end here. So this is your first quarter worth of stories. And so these are the stories that are going in order. You see the arrow ends here, it picks up here, and then you have a timeline. So you can imagine if you put these all across a wall. Now this is what I said kids were doing. Some childhood areas will take this and they'll laminate them. I know a church that got it digitally, took it to like a wallpaper company and developed a wallpaper. I don't know how they did that. And then in the hallway, a long hallway, they had this timeline that probably almost goes the length of this. Well, what I told you about the first cycle, kids were going, Mom, Dad, this is what we did. This is creation, this is so-and-so. This is a great way to review with your kids also. Hey, okay, kids, let's see if we can do this. This is creation. This is God created people. Sin entered the world. So you could do that. You could take some strips and say, let's cover the words up. Cover the words up. So these are other ways to Bible skills to teach your kids the memory part of the order of things that happen in the Bible and how it's part of God's stuff. So you can put little strips of paper and let them start looking at the picture and learning. That's a great way to review. So y'all can just roll those up and set them on the side of the table. So there are also 4 posters, which is really cool. We're going to have a fun time putting this all back together. There are 4 posters this size that are the family of Jesus. So it goes through the lineage and the genealogy of Jesus. So that's 4 big posters put together like boom, 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 I believe. So that's a neat tool to use. Again, it can be ordered digitally. You can scale it down if you need to. But I like timelines. So I like stuff like that. Okay. Okay. Now you say, well, we don't have enough room. We don't have enough room in our classroom for timelines. Don't worry, we've got more. This is what we call the small group timeline. These are classroom size timelines. And so what it has is, in addition to the timeline, as you see here, that's kind of the Jesus family lineage. It's one of the posters and others. So these are smaller in-class timelines that, and you can pull these out and look at them. Let me just pull one out. So see, this is a little smaller, but you can go around the room and do the same thing. Let's cover this up and let's start learning these things and reviewing these things. And, you know, it'd be cool getting all the way up to the New Testament and going, okay, let's go back, see what you know, and having the kids regurgitate it out. It's amazing what they do know. Also included in here, though, are maps. So that if you want to use the maps along with some of the pictures. Oh, y'all are drooling now, aren't you? You know, biblical maps with the characters that you can put. There's also some printables that you can use to print little pinpoints. And I'll show you.
I guess we can order those if we want those personally. Can we order these?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. I'm sure Crystal can. You can't get most of this stuff at the bookstore. We don't. Oddly, we don't carry curriculum. And I don't know if you heard the news or not. Lifeway, like every other brick and mortar place, is cutting back stores. So I don't know which. I don't know if it's yours, but everybody's going more digital. So that's a neat tool that can be used, smaller timeline in the classroom. These are one-time purchases, so you buy one and it's the entire set for 3 years of the Gospel Project, whether it's the posters or the small class timeline. So this is kind of a look at some of the maps, not colored, but black and white. We can print or. And there's also, we only sell this digitally. We did this the first time and stopped doing it, and we got a lot of requests for it. So this is, if you can imagine, just like the large posters, or you could scale it because it's digital. These are 4 posters that create a big timeline in a circle. So you can see all these, if you can't see them real well, but all these are all the stories they do over the 3-year period in a circular timeline. So that's kind of a neat tool. Another thing we have, and I don't have one because I ordered it to bring today and was out of print. So is something called a Classroom Bible. This is like a $6 paperback Bible that has some of the Gospel Project photos and pictures in it that can be used in the classroom if you want. I brought this also. This is called the One Big Story Bible, the big cover. It's just a normal Bible. It's the Christian Standard Version, the one that we own. But it's a Gospel Project Bible that has pictures. And it also has readable icons so that if you go on the internet, it tells you, or you go on the App Store and you can download a app. And so then when I put my phone or my iPad on this picture, it makes it come up in 3D like that for the kids, and then it tells the story. It's got a voice that'll tell the story. It goes along with that. So this is a kind of a neat little Bible. I have donated as a giveaway, so it could be a door prize today. But that's a tool, either a classroom thing or something you can give to the kids
Do
also.
do you sell that separately outside of curriculum? Do you-
Yeah.
Like that, okay.
Yeah, that's just like a Bible, that Lifeway sells all the Bibles, that's just a Bible in the store, and that is in the store.
Okay.
And once they reprint the paperback version, that's also available, and will be available in the store. So, also, going so quickly here. I'll go ahead and show this. This is a tool that you could get for parents. I'll pass it around and y'all can take a look at it if you want to. This is two different things in this pack. They come in packs of 10. One, you deal with the big picture question and answer. So if you want the moms and dads, that's what this is. It goes through each of the God, people, Jesus, the Bible, church, and the Christian life. And it takes those and shares what was the big picture question about God. Who created everything? God created it. So it's the big picture question and answer that you're doing with preschool and children, just in a booklet format. Also, they did it in a poster format. So you can have this poster in the room. Interesting, one side is for kids and one side is for preschoolers. And it just does the same thing. It takes the big picture question and answers. So this could kind of a good resource for parents. And I'll let y'all just pass these around. Take a look at them if you want to. Kind of splitting up the posters in the book. And let me make sure, I'm going to switch over here to so I went to the Gospel Project site. It's just gospelproject.com. Okay? And that's where I got that video that I showed you earlier. It just kind of shares with you all about some of the pieces for the Gospel Project. But you see right here up in the top right where it says Leader Resources. Okay, I'm just going to click on Leader Resources. You see there's additional resources and the blog. The blog is just that, it's a blog. It has various articles to support the lessons of the Gospel Project. There's one called Gospel Links for Gospel Culture, February 1. So it's just some neat articles to read for your growth and to help you think about as you teach. So those are located there. There's also and then also I went to the additional resources. And on there, you guys are in Out of Egypt, Volume 2. So I went into Volume 2, and I just scroll down, and it just has, there's the key passage. It has unit themes. If you want to decorate your stage for Unit 4, you can do a bakery. You can do a big city for Unit 5. These are just ideas if you want to decorate either your room or your large group space. But also you'll notice there are just some downloadables on here that you can use from here. Also these would be the downloadables that you get in your digital delivery. But also we put some of them up on the website here. So you can do an allergy poster. It has, let's see.
Do we have to have a passcode or anything to access this? Or is it just...
No, this is just on the website. Now you're thinking about your book does also direct you to the ministry grid, which you do have a username and password. Ministry Grid is our online training platform for a variety of things. Say I want to train parking lot greeters. Say I got a brand new preschool teacher. How do I train them at the beginner level, at the intermediate level, advanced? So it's a training platform which your leaders could use to subscribe and to give you training. Say, hey, here's a video. I would like you to watch this. You have until this date, and they can monitor whether you. It's almost like online education. But we also put our 3 curriculum line teaching pieces, and I'll go to it in a minute, because that's in your book, and I will. But in order to get to that, it does ask you to create a username and a password. It's a free version when it comes to training on our curriculums. There's a lot of free stuff that'll be on there, but the rest is assigned material.
I went through a rabbit hole when this first came out, and I thought I was supposed to download all this stuff, and I don't know why. But it was really easy
Yeah.
to access and get, so I thought that was.
From
pretty
here,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I would just click on one, like, you know, there's the journal page for kids. You know, just quickly download it, and then I print that, you know. It has like a supply list, and then you can check off, yeah, because I'm doing this activity, these are the supplies that I want. Let's see, I saw some other things.
Can I just make a comment?
Please, yes.
You're giving us kind of all of the resources that Tiff and Crystal already have access to because Renola pays for the content. So
Right,
if there are pieces of the content that he is going over that you don't readily have in your classroom maps, large prints, talk to your campus director about getting those things. Because we already have access to them and print on site and print large on site and those kind of things too. So I hope that answers kind of what you were thinking, outside of if we want, like the map, which is awesome, we can't put it up at Glen to stay up in the hallway all week long, we just don't have that luxury.
yeah,
But they do here at the village, and so if there's a piece of something that you don't have in your bags each week, that would be worth saying to Crystal, I'd like this I'd like for my class to have this, and they can get that piece for you.
these are just some downloadable pins that you could use on the map. So there's all kind of things that are on the website to help you download. And then, let's see, I'm going into a session. So, out of Egypt. Winter 2018-2019 litter tips. If I were to go to the blog and go here, which takes you to the same video that you were talking about a minute ago, is Ministry Grid. These are session by session videos. I think that they even send, y'all send them out to them for each age group. So here's the kids one. If I were to start playing that, it would play Unit 5, Session 3, and you can back up and get whatever you need. And it just plays you, some of the writers and the authors, or some of the Gospel Project team just shares, okay, this is the focus for the week. You may want to think about this. This is what we're talking about this week. So that's all the video does. It's just usually 5 or 6 minutes of a brief video to kind of get you prepared to teach. So that is another tool that's at your disposal. Now, in your teacher guide, it tells you about a site called Ministry Grid. I had that up on my laptop. I didn't have it here, but I will pull it up. So if I just go to search, okay, what these are is training pathways where we have already built out for a preschool teacher to go through. But you see there the 3 curriculum lines that we have. Here's the Gospel Project, and that's another place. Your book will take you. Kids Winter, and it's that same video that was back on the blog site.
Oh, okay.
So that's where you went, probably. Yeah. So then you can pick the unit, the lesson, the session that you want. Just click it. Now, I'm automatically logged in, like it's doing audio only for some reason, but it will do video. It may be that it requires me to sign in, use a username and sign in to do that. I don't know why it's doing audio only. So that's another tool for you to use. There's also Facebook communities. You go to Facebook and just do Gospel Project. There's the Facebook site by the Lifeway guys that he'll put, hey, here's some updates, here's something new. There's that Facebook site. But then there's also a Facebook community, which is just people sharing ideas. So one lady shared a game that she created. I can't remember. It was like a Jeopardy game, but she called it something else. Zonk or something like that, which they used for review so that they could go back and do, like I talked about the posters. So people will share neat ideas, decoration ideas, things that they created, things that they did online. So it's just kind of a place to go for some extra ideas. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is things for the parents. I've already talked about the big picture question book, but there's also the Lifeway app. So the app, the general app is Lifeway Kids. So if you send your parents to Lifeway Kids, again, it has all three of our curriculums, so you would go down to the Gospel Project. I'm going to go a little further. These are really neat. The big picture question and answer booklet is also on the app. So they could go and say, I want kids question and answers or kids flashcards. And what topic area? The Bible. What is the big picture question on the Bible? What is the Bible? It's God's Word. It tells us about truth. So that's also available free on the app. The other ones are interesting. Bible skills for kids, although it's primarily reinforces our Explore the Bible curriculum online. All of our childhood shares some of these things, some of these foundational background things. So you're doing some Bible skills with your kids. At what age should they know the difference in the New Testament and Old Testament? At what age should they know all the Old Testament books and New Testament? And so that's kind of what this does. It takes the kids, what's their Bible skill for younger kids, and then it takes different areas. I decided to click over this. They should be able to identify the New and Old Testament. They should be able to pronounce people and places. So it just gives skills that they should know by this age, which helps you develop. The curriculum also provides that. And then if you really want to look at the levels of biblical learning says, if I have a first grader, what should they know about God? What should they know about Jesus? What should they know about humanity? Which is also covered in. So although levels of biblical learning dictates one of our other curriculum lines, scope and sequence, it also undergirds what we expect the kids to know in the Gospel Project. So those are just some interesting things. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Gospel Project stuff. And there's two versions that are available every quarter for parents. One you see is Fall 2018 Light. Okay, that's the free version for parents. So if they go to Light and they open that app, okay, they have the sessions, God created the world. They have the big picture Q&A. If I were to hit that top left, mom and dad want to share the gospel to their kids. There's an app to help them be able to do this, to lead them to Christ. Okay, key passages on there for that quarter. And then if I go into the session, God created the world. Here's the big picture question flashcard that I can go take a look at. Here's story point color where they can take a brush and color until the words come up. There's a coloring page where they can pick and color the thing. And then the family starter. This is to help mom and dad have a family conversation at home. So this is the app for parents. This is the free version. If the parents want to pay about $2.99 for the iPad version, but 99 cents for the phone version, it gives just a little bit more. And you'll notice some extra icons across the top there. So what we do is we add this theme song, which you're using maybe in the large group time. So the parents can go, click on that and listen to the theme song. There's also a recorder, which is on the other one, where the kids can say the key verse and record their voice and then play it back. That's on both the free version and then also the key passage song over to the right. And then if I go into session 1, you'll notice it adds the Bible story video, which you guys are using in the large group time. So the parents can watch the video and play it. So for 99 cents on the phone and $2.99 on the iPads.
But it's 99 cents for each session,
No, 99 cents would be for the quarter.
for the whole quote, so you get all of them.
Right. Yeah, for spring. So, and then the last thing, if parents really want to get, Brian Dembozic, took me a while to learn to say that name, is our brand manager for the Gospel Project. But he created 200 question and answers to learn from. Brian is probably on the video before you go break down into your small group class. It's either before the mission or after, depending on when you do it. Yeah, where he does questions from kids. Yeah, I think most of the time that's Brian Dembozic. Yeah.
They all love that part.
Do they? Yeah.
Yeah, the second and third graders love it.
Questions from kids.
Yeah.
Fourth and fifth graders.
And that's new. That's the first time we've done it this year. Before we had something called discussion starter videos, and it could be just a video.
I always like that he adds a question that he asks the kids at the end, like a rhetorical question. And those are really good conversation questions.
And that's what they're there for. Help you group your group time. Well, he wrote a book called Cornerstones, and he does 200. So if your parents really want to get jiggy with it, it shows you how old I am. I'm not going to get jiggy with it anymore. So, this is the kids' version. It's just a nice color for the kids. But then he also created, a larger book, which is a parent guide, which is also, kind of discipling the parents. So hopefully these are just some tools to help you do what you do. Go to places to provide some extra ideas, some extra teaching ideas, ways to decorate your room and help you solidify with image and your teaching what the kids are learning.